Heidi, 3. After a few weeks, Heidi's grandfather tried to encourage Clara to stand for a few minutes each day. Even though it hurt, she did it to please the old man. One afternoon, Heidi asked her grandfather to take them up the mountain. It was so beautiful up there at this time of year. He agreed upon one condition. Heidi's grandfather told Clara that she must do her best and try to stand again that night. The next morning, he picked up Clara, and off they set up the mountain. He put Clara down and said he would be back in the afternoon. It was more beautiful than Clara had imagined. Heidi had a sudden desire for Clara to see the field of flowers. There was one problem, though. How would Clara get over there? Heidi called Peter down from where he was sitting. They stood on either side of Clara to support her, while Heidi encouraged her to take a firm step. Clara was scared, but took one. Neither girl could believe it. Clara was walking. They could not contain their excitement and shouted with joy. They spent the day among the flowers. Heidi couldn't wait to tell her grandfather the exciting news. She raced towards him as he came up the hill and told him that Clara had walked. Clara decided that she wanted to work on her walking and surprise her grandmother. A few days later, the girls wrote a letter of invitation to Clara's grandmother. They asked her to come the following week. Then every day, with great attention, Clara practiced walking. Every day she found it easier and was able to go a longer distance. And so another week went by. Finally, the day arrived for her grandmother's visit. Clara had become so healthy-looking that her grandmother almost didn't recognize her. She was also a bit confused when she saw Clara was not in her chair. Then the girls gave their surprise. They both stood up from the bench, and while Clara leaned on Heidi's shoulder for support, they walked towards her grandmother. Laughing and crying, Clara's grandmother ran to them. Clara's grandmother wanted to send a telegram to Clara's father in Paris as soon as possible. Little did they know, but Clara's father was already on his way. He had set out from Paris the day before. As he walked up the hill, he wondered if he was going in the right direction. Soon he saw Peter's hut, the one that Heidi had talked about. He was confident that he would soon see Heidi's grandfather's hut. As he approached the hut, two figures came towards him. A tall girl with fair hair and pink cheeks was leaning on Heidi. Clara's father suddenly stopped. As he was staring at the two children, tears filled his eyes. He could not believe that the beautiful, healthy-looking child was his daughter, and she was walking. After the initial shock and excitement, they all sat down to eat. Clara's father told them of his plans. He wanted to take his daughter and mother on a trip through Switzerland. That meant they had to leave the next day. Clara was both happy and sad. She had never been on such a trip before, but she was sad to say goodbye to Heidi. The one thing that cheered Clara up was the thought of returning the following summer. And so their plans were set. Clara and her family were to leave the next day for their vacation. Heidi would live in the village during winter and on the mountain in summer. And each year her friends from Frankfurt would come to visit.